Craig, I'm so sick of your voice.
Damn, Craig. Just getting torched.
Torched in here.
Torched. Every day you come in here. Doesn't matter how much hours you put in, you still getting torched. Well, we're back again, guys. For another wonderful episode of the Believe Me If You Don't podcast. And on tonight's agenda, we discuss the greatest game of all time. The best game Kiwi ever has played in his life.
Is there a worse game? Yeah, it's 100% a worse game.
Oh, 100%. What?
Oh, Age of Empires 2 worse game.
Okay, well, that's just wrong.
Yeah, fuck it. Gotta be wrong to be right.
True.
And I'm never wrong.
Yep, I understand. So tonight we're going to be discussing our review on Gotham Knights. Da-da-da.
I wish I could play crickets, because I would.
Well, it wouldn't get picked up anyway, so suck my ass.
Yeah, I know. Pain.
So yeah, we're going to talk about Gotham Knights. I know when we do these review episodes, it's all about when we complete them. Because this game came out literally last year. So, obviously, I did not. I had an inkling to buy it just because I don't play a lot of superhero games. And it's been literally, I would say, close to 2 decades since I played my last Batman game. It was like probably, I think it was a Super Nintendo game. I could not figure it out to save my life, so I just quit. And it feels like a lot of superhero video games are just not good.
Nope, most of them suck ass other than Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah,
Arkham Knights. Batman Arkham Knights was probably the last, good Batman game.
Yeah, like obviously any of the Spider-Mans have been awesome, but
yeah, but Tobey Maguire era Spider-Mans, those were awful. Those were dead ass awful.
Yeah, well. But I never played the Arkham series. I know Donkey loves them. And then, obviously, Avengers. Just, yeah.
Greatest game ever? What are you talking about? It's already shut down.
I wish. I wish it would have been, good. But yeah, this Gotham Knights came to, I think, Game Pass, a couple months ago or something like that?
I thought it was a few weeks.
A few weeks
Maybe
ago?
last month?
Yeah, something like that. So, Kiwi obviously didn't have anything to play before Diablo came out, and I was like, let's try this bitch out. We got Game Pass. Let's try it out.
Yeah, just beat Sekiro too,
Yeah, true. Coming off a high, and then you went to a low.
Real fucking low.
So, Gotham Knights, yeah, it's a Warner Brothers game. If you don't know, kind of who the Gotham Knights are, it's obviously, set in Batman's universe. Who do you get to play as?
You have Tim Drake, who's a Robin. You have Dick Grayson, who's Nightwing. You have Barbara Gordon, who's Batgirl. I don't remember. I want to say Jason Kidd, but that's not his name. Who's Red X? What's his name? That's not the one I want.
It's Red Hood, right? Oh, Jason Todd, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, Jason Todd is Red Hood. So yeah, those are the 4 characters you can play as. For co-op, can you go up to 4 players? Or is it just 3?
No, it's only 2.
That's stupid. Why do you get the option for 4 people then, or 4?
God, you know how much of a cluster that would be. You got 4 people trying to beat one mob.
Yeah, I guess I can get behind 2 people. But I played as Dick Grayson or Nightwing, and you played as Tim Drake.
Yeah, it was Tim Drake or Robin.
So I kind of wish I would tried Red Hood, but obviously I don't want to go back and play this game.
Damn.
Nightwings was okay, but we'll start with the combat. How at the end of the game, how did you feel? Because I think I maxed out my skill tree. I don't know about the momentum abilities, but
my tree was messed up. I needed to fix my tree, and I didn't know how to reset it. So
I wonder if you could reset it.
If you couldn't, fuck me, because there was some like really good stuff, and I just didn't pick it up. Like I could have got a free 20% crit and crit damage, didn't get it because I thought we were getting more points. But the trees were neat, but like they just didn't. I don't know. They didn't seem like some of the powers just seemed like butthole.
Yeah, I don't think they added anything at all. I looked them over and I was like, okay, and then I just clicked them and I just added them. So
like most of them felt like they were just passives. Like it didn't help your flow of combat. It was like, oh, you just gain 10% crit, or oh, you do a little more elemental damage. It's like, okay, that's cool and all, but like, why don't you give me like different, like give me like charged attacks or something? No, none of that.
Yeah, it felt like it was 100% built around doing the perfect attacks things where you had to time them. I mean, that's decent, but I feel like in a beat 'em up, you're just trying to press a button over and over, and then why wouldn't you add some kind of combo system? Because it was like, for me, it was the 3-hit combo thing. Just do kick. And I was like, okay. But obviously I didn't play the combat to perfection. So maybe I was missing out on a few things. But overall the combat was just lackluster, to say the least.
People say some of the class or some like the I think Batgirl was the best.
Really?
Like the best is in like the one that was probably thought about the most. Where I think my guy was actually the worst.
Nice.
Or Tim Drake was, or the Robin. I don't know. I think it's just rushed. Like,
oh, it's 100% rushed.
Even in their own universes, like they special, like they got their personalities probably like decent of how the characters act, but or like in like cutscenes, but like the way they fight probably isn't like it isn't there whatsoever.
No. And then, just speaking of cutscenes, this game is stupid. If you're playing with somebody, your partner, whoever the host is, they have to do everything. Like, your teammate cannot open doors if you need to go somewhere. And then in the cutscenes, it split them. Whoever got to it first, it felt like that was who was in the cutscene. I don't understand. Is it a coding thing that you just can't have your partner in the cutscene or something? I don't know.
That's something with how they did their like jank net code, because it to me, you could easily just have like a template there next to your character that they could be standing there in the cutscene doing like jack shit or like looking around. You just have a normal template, and whatever character they pick, they just slap that in there, and that's how you solve that. But like them talking makes sense because like each character has special dialogue when they were talking to the certain character. Like if you're talking to Harley Quinn, the four sidekicks, whatever the hell you want to call them, to Batman, they would talk differently to Harley Quinn versus, well, if both characters are in there, one's not going to be talking, they're just going to be staring.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can get that point. So it's just not like since I was the host, I was in there doing the cutscene, and your character's just standing around like a dummy in the cutscene.
I couldn't open doors. I literally couldn't open doors. Like, we're going to the next area. All you can do is suggest. Oh, hey, you want to read this cutscene or do something important? Suggest it. Oh, shit, I can open this door? Cool. Oh wait, just kidding. You had to suggest it to host. So it's like, oh, where's my host? Oh, my host is somewhere else. I can't do this. It's like, cool. Good. It's a bright idea for some quality of life in there.
Yeah. And then we will just go ahead and get out of the way. The freaking jank-ass GTA movement in this video game. No one should try it besides Grand Theft Auto. It is awful. When I'm walking and I run into something, and it's not like my character is going flash speed and they run into a wall. I'm just, casually walking. I run into a wall and I get paralyzed for whatever reason. It was one of the most annoying things in this game. And I don't know why they adopted the whole thing from GTA.
No, the best way I can compare this to something, it's like, okay, well, like some people you can't compare this to. It's basically you're holding your dick, you're trying to go through somewhere and you can't. Because it's literally what happens. You hit a wall, you're stuck on that wall till you 180 and go back off the wall. Oh hey, your teammate bumps you, you stuck. You gotta do something about that. Instead of like, you could make me squeeze through or, collision with my teammate and I don't know, something weird happens.
Yeah. It was quite annoying. Because you'd be sprinting and then you'd hit something by accident. And then you got to reset your entire sprint mode.
Oh, get into a door, you hit a door and your character's like, I can't open this, and then you're just stuck there.
Stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say those are some of the bad things about the game. The story, it was okay. It's a typical like Batman detective type thing. One of the highlights I would have to say is definitely for combat and the story is the whole stealth thing. I think that's always been kind of a staple for Batman because obviously he tries to do stuff in the night, and I think the stealth things were okay, as good as you can kind of get it. But at times it felt like some of the mobs were just so close in an area and it was just pointless.
Well, that's the thing is like they didn't give you enough variation of using stealth. Like you had a smoke bomb, which like I'll talk about like the grappling later. But you had a smoke bomb, so when you grappled, it dropped a smoke bomb. Well, it didn't really do anything because you dropped the smoke bomb and everyone would just look up and stare at you, wherever the hell you just grappled to. And it's just sort of like, well, what's the point of the smoke bomb then? I think the re-stealth mechanic was not really that good, but like if you could stay in stealth and like there were times where Spachi would fight, enemies and I could just stealth around and just sort of like, stealth kill or stealth knock them out.
Yeah. The stealth stuff was okay, but I understand like they're not in these super advanced suits like a Spider-Man or something where they can go camouflage. So they're just relying on trying to, make them unconscious or knock them unconscious as quickly as they can, and then you would grapple up. I wish there was more ways to do the stealth kills instead of just dropping down on them and choking them out, essentially.
I had one where it was a vantage point. So I'd go on a vantage point and I would like sort of rappel down and it would technically take them out of the fight. But I mean, I can only do that on like certain areas. I couldn't do it like everywhere.
Yeah. And I another cool piece to it was the whole being a detective type thing. And the mini puzzles that you kind of had to do, basically, to get to certain areas, you kind of had to figure out like secrets and whatnot. So you would have to like play around, like, oh, this clue matches with this clue. So I enjoyed those. It was kind of cool to be looking around, and it took your mind off of how bad the combat was and stuff, because combat is so bland, and it was just so easy. even if we didn't get our stealth shit off, I felt like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm gonna drop down here. We'll take out these 30 mobs. It was easy as shit. So I think the detective work was definitely one of the highlights. What do you think of it?
I liked it. It's just like the story elements of it. Like I think you get like augmented reality vision where you sort of like ping stuff around you and it highlights it, which is, I mean, if you didn't have that, like, dear God, it would have taken like
Oh yeah,
hours to get through the game. Like, we'd be like one little investigation thing would be like, where the hell is this thing? Like, we just go around looking to where the hell to interact with. But like the investigation stuff, if they took that like farther, where you sort of went like, not autopsy, but like you gathered data more than, you know, just like video game logic. Like you actually like had to go steal files and all this other crap, or like, you know, like beat people up for information more often. I think I would have liked it a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned the grappling. So that is definitely a highlight of this game, and I wish a lot more games that would try to be open world ish would have some sort of grappling like this, because it was fun as shit just to grapple wherever I wanted to and just bounce off and then keep grappling as quickly as you could.
Yeah,
So
would you say that was like the first Spider-Man, just not as, I mean, Spider-Man's swinging is extremely, like, you know, assisted.
yeah, I mean nothing's gonna beat Spider-Man's, just because that's like attaching to anything, versus this, you know, you have little points on ledges, top of buildings and stuff, and then you use your momentum to shoot off and then just continue. So, but I thought it worked well. It wasn't jank at all. There was enough points that you could, as long as you were pointing correctly, you could get there as quickly as. I never felt like I had to be on the ground and I could get on. Honestly, I never had really had to get on my bike. As once we got the quick points or whatever, the checkpoints and stuff in each area, it was like, go there, grapple around. I'm going to get there hella quickly. I never had to get on my bike. So I think that was awesome to really not have to traverse on the ground. So
No, they for that movement, they got that down. Minus when you got like, you had a brotherhood tree or something, which is like a little story to the character, like through interactables and other random crap. Like you had to do little objectives. But like you got actual like a movement ability around there. Then depending, like, I don't know how you used it. You had like a hovercraft. I had a teleport where I would just like, I could just I basically held space, and I think they called it slideways, where I would just I could just basically, I was like an orb in the sky that's just teleporting somewhere, and that's basically eventually how I started traveling, because I could do it anywhere.
yeah, I think yours was a lot better than mine, because my freaking hovercraft would, you go up as high as you wanted to, and then you would float for literal 5 seconds, then you just start dropping straight down. So unless I was just using it incorrectly, it was awful. So
Yeah, mine was great. I was just like, you know, using it to just climb skyscrapers at one point.
I'm
It was like,
curious to see like what Batgirls and Red Hoods would have been, though. I wonder if they
yeah,
would have been any better.
um, probably better than yours, or the same thing as yours. I got me.
Yeah. But like I said, the whole grappling thing was perfectly fine to get around wherever.
Um,
Um
what about bosses? What do
yeah,
you
I was
think of
gonna
the
say,
bosses?
so I don't know. I want to say my favorite one was our first one, Mr. Freeze. Like, it was, his first fight was pretty cool. But they weren't like anything super special, because it felt the difficulty of them felt like super off. Mr. Freeze, obviously, it took us a couple tries because we didn't know what we were doing, and we were like surprised that he was going into that fight. But once we got it down pat, it was the same thing over and over. And then you go to somebody like freaking Talia Ghul, and she was hard as shit. I thought I didn't fight Bruce Wayne, so you have to say if he was hard or not.
Oh, and I shoved the Bruce Wayne over. You were called Meatbag. He just beat you. He teleported and beat you down, and then I rezzed you, and then I beat him down. And I don't know. It's the bosses. I mean, we were on the hardest difficulty they had too. So like, you got chunked, but like at the same time, they didn't, because they put set levels to them, and you could sort of go wherever you wanted in the story, and you fought those bosses. Like there was like a range of like say like 7 to 14 for some of them, or like 14 to 21 level wise. It made them that you're just over leveled for them, where they should have just made it so it would follow like a linear line of you fighting those bosses, so they could tune them better. Because yeah, the first time we fought Mr. Freeze, we didn't really have any gear, so we weren't really like doing anything special. We got like maybe like some greens, no like little mods or gems that increase our power, give us special stuff, which made that fight actually enjoyable. But then like later on, it just became like, okay, so I just hit harder now, and you're just destroying any boss, and then you phase them, and then you just do the same thing, and you destroy them, and then phase them again, and I don't know. They shouldn't have let the player go wherever they wanted in the story, and they could actually made probably a better story versus what they had.
Yeah, I definitely believe this game would have benefited from scaling on at least on just the bosses. You could have the mobs in the story like do like you were saying, the whole level thing, 7 to 14, 20 to whatever. That would have been fine, but for bosses, it should have scaled to your level just to make it at least a little fair. But if you had freaking element or any type of elemental attack, it chunked them because I think it was Clayface. I had fire, and he attacked your ass, and I just shot him with my range weapon, and he was on fire the entire time, and he was just melting.
Yeah, it's like the stun element. You basically just stun something. You can just beat them down for like 15 seconds, and it's just, they're not doing anything.
Yeah. But as far as bosses go too, though, as far as the spectacle type thing, I think Clayface's was the best. It's the second one when we were going through the whole tunnel and
the bike part.
Yes, I thought that was really cool. An escape scene type like that is always fun to me, and it makes it chaotic because was it water or was it actually him that was chasing us?
It was him. He absorbed part of the water, and that became him. So he's like a big tidal wave.
Yeah. That actually
spoilers.
Oh yeah. Everything in here is obviously spoilers, but that felt like a real chasing because you had to be on the ball. Like it didn't give you any leeway. If you messed up or hit one of his hands and shit, you were gonna die. So I thought, as far as like cinematics and stuff and interactive things that you did in the boss, I thought Clayface's was the best.
I think they should have let Clayface's chase scene go into a third phase one more time. But other than that, like most chase scenes, you don't really feel afraid. Like, and I don't mean like I was afraid there. It's just like if you died or I died, we started over. So I think they should have made it longer and change a little bit more to make it a little more chaos. But other than that, like chase scene wise, that was actually really good.
Yeah. I barely remember Harley Quinn's.
Hers was like we got a balloon which had like, photos. We went and beat some people up, got the photos. And then when we went back there, it were like 2 mobs we beat down, then we dropped farther and there were like bombs or something. And then I think we fought her after that, and she had like summoned some enemies, and I don't know, she was lame. They needed the Joker in this. Like they literally needed the Joker. It would have been perfect. Or like the Riddler. They needed more villains in it than what we had.
Yeah. And like Talia's was hard as shit, I thought, because she meleeed way too fast for you to move, and she just had an extended ass pole arm at that one phase.
But I think she was just bullshit.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't dodge all those swings. I don't know what they're expecting, so eventually just got beat down.
Yeah. And then obviously the best one, Man Bat.
Yeah, I liked Man Bat. Man Bat gave you a run for the money, and except when Man Bat 2 came out, and it was like, okay, well, why are there a bunch of Man Bats?
Yeah, that was a little on. I think the combination between them and the stupid League of Assassins, it made some, like, that one on top of the roof that was just super condensed. That one was stupid. But yeah, Man was pretty dumb.
I like the Court of Owls when we got dropped into that pit with like the traps. That was actually like sort of neat. It was just we were just sort of basically like suiciding at it though, and trying to like squeeze by.
The Court of Owls, I think, was the best like faction. Just because it also added a little, underground mystery type thing.
Yeah, but they had no like big baddie. They had Man Bat. Like,
yeah.
How the hell does Man Bat? How the hell does the Court of Owls equal Man Bat?
There is like experimentation and stuff because they're just normal humans.
What are Batman villains?
Like normal ones.
Like, okay, so Ra's al Ghul was dead in this, so Bane wouldn't have made sense. At least I don't think. Where the hell's Scarecrow? Is Two-Face dead? Why didn't you put Catwoman in? But again, because she would have made sense because Batman's technically dead in this. Where the hell's Poison Ivy? The Riddler didn't exist. I'm assuming Joker's dead in this one. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know what universe this one is in. Literally, how the hell didn't Killer Croc be put in with the freaking owls? He's literally a mutation.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of villains they could have just slapped in there.
Might as well. I don't think they're ever going to do DLC for this either. So,
wait, Man Bat actually exists? Holy shit!
Does he really? I thought he's a made up thing for the game.
No, Man Bat's actually real. Holy shit!
Nice,
but he's actually like a person.
Huh. Is it just like one though, or is it a bunch of them?
It looks like it's just one. It says a human side of Man Bat Kirk Langstrom had moments where he maintained his sanity. Was Kirk Langstrom actually in Gotham Knights? Oh, he was. Wait, what? Alright, well, you probably had to read and do crap for this because I wasn't paying enough attention. I guess Kirk Langstrom actually did exist.
Alright. I'm not gonna read. So how did you feel about the gearing system, and just the whatnot with the mods?
I think they could have, made higher level I guess eventually the gear at higher levels gave like effects, like you get other than having it be element or like your weapon, like so you knock someone down, you gain momentum, momentum was basically your abilities that like did big damage or like special things. So like eventually that gear got better at higher tiers, but it was just like constant. Like the progression was weird because it's RNG what you got, like I had a ranged weapon at level like 10 that could hold 3 mods, which is like that item may as well be like a level 25 item because I could just power it up with mods and it's like nothing beats it. Which that made it weird. So like they needed a better idea of going from like, white or common to uncommon to rare to epic, I think to legendary, and then they have mythic gear, which was like added a couple months ago or like 6 months ago or something.
Yeah. It definitely was odd because I could never tell which one was actually better because every single time I would look at it, it was like, oh, I had these 2 mods in it, so it's way higher than what I just got. But I wasn't factoring in of me putting in those mods to add the power and stuff. So I think, yeah, the mods should have maybe just added some little extra things instead of adding power. And I think the gear that you got randomly should have been base power ones, so it would have been easier to determine which one you needed to upgrade and whatnot. And then as far as the elements goes, they were just like we already talked about, but it was just stupid. If you knew the element that they were weak to, just use it and you would murder whatever mob. So once you beat the story, the main, I guess there's only really 2 things to do at the end, and maybe they were actually tied together. We obviously quit, but there's like a tower or thing that you can go through. It just starts at level 1 and goes to like what 30, I think it was.
Yeah, I don't know if the first one goes to 30. I don't know if the second one goes to 30 or it was the third. If there was a third one that went to 15. One of them they added only did 15 more levels, but I don't know. I don't know which one. We didn't make it there. Like I couldn't go through 30 floors of the same thing over and over. Just beating down waves and waves and waves.
If the combat was a little bit more enjoyable and it wasn't slow and you could do a lot more like AoE type damage, I think it would have been okay. Like we would have maybe continued, but yeah, it was literally the same stage. I mean, they changed a little bit, but for the most part, it was the same stage, and you would just try and fight all these mobs together. And then I don't know if they had most wanteds like mobs in the game, and we never even found one. So I don't know if it was actually in the tower or they were in the world, and you can only find them by doing very high threat levels.
I think they were in the world, but we didn't really go to any very hard ones to find them. Because when we were in the tower, there was that ice dude that was shooting crap, and then there was another like, I don't know. She was like sick 1 or something. She had a flaming baseball bat. So like I think they existed. We just in like the city we didn't see them because I think we had maybe one very hard, if that.
Yeah, but it never felt like you had to do the very hards to really. There was no incentive to do them. It felt like.
Well, later on when like we just started getting other high level gear, we didn't have the material. So I guess if you don't have the material to make the legendary stuff, that's when you went to do the very hards. But
yeah. Trying to think. I mean, that's all really I have to say about the game.
Would you play Gotham Knights 2 if it ever existed?
They'd really have to redefine the combat, and I think, like you were talking earlier about the villains, any Batman game, if you don't have Joker, it's a hard sell because he's so iconic to that franchise, and like so is Riddler, so is Two-Face, Scarecrow a little bit, but You know, why were the biggest one? Because no one knows really the like Talia or the Al Ghul people. Like I know the Dark Knight trilogy, Ra's al Ghul was kind of in them, but even then, he still wasn't the main villain. So not a lot of people know about Ra's al Ghul and whatnot. Clayface, he's okay. Mr. Freeze is just, a normal one. And Harley Quinn, it's just odd you have Harley Quinn and not Joker. So, but yeah, maybe the Gotham Knight, if it did redefine their combat a little bit more, make it the trees more expansive and more of less of a beat 'em up type, and continue with the detective work, secrets and stuff like that. That'd be fine. Obviously, keep the grappling. Yeah, maybe I'd give it a try. Definitely, if it was on Game Pass, I wouldn't buy it right out. So, what about you?
I don't know. Probably, but stealth elements have to go up in it. The combat needs to flesh out longer. Story, you gotta put in big names. Like you gotta have big characters there. Like you had Penguin as a supporting character. Like that's fine and all, because he's still a piece of shit, and he's a businessman, and it's okay. But like, where is everyone? Where's like the main cast? I get Batman's technically dead, so like I get Joker not existing, because like Batman being gone with no Joker's weird. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
but Talia al Ghul, to me, she was never really a good character. Like she existed in the League of Assassins, but like
Well, it was just like the entire time, she did one thing, but then you skipped. She just wasn't there throughout the entire game until the very end, and she was the main villain. It made no sense whatsoever. Like she wasn't a presence throughout the entire game when she ended up being the last boss.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. It's she's like, oh, she's around, and then like, I think we got into the Court of Owls. She shot an arrow in someone, like your Batman's uncle or something, and then it's like, we gotta get her, and then we hunt her down. And it's like, how did she exist? Like, I get they're like, stealthy and they're not supposed to be seen a lot, but you should have more confrontation. Like, might be like one other time you talked to her, like 2 other times you talked to her, but you never really fought her. You never really fought any of them. Like, they weren't seen as good anyway. So I don't know what the hell you're doing. The weird thing is you had Arkham Knights or Arkham Arkham Knight or what the freak's it called?
Asylum?
Arkham Asylum or like the Arkham verse.
Mm-hmm.
But you kept away from that in a Batman game. Why wouldn't you try and get the Arkham, like at least like you could portray it as a different timeline, but you're still in the Arkham Asylum type verse or Arkham verse to use those characters and like what people loved about it. But and you did need like a combo counter. I'm pretty sure Arkham Asylum had combos in it where you just sort of like beat stuff down.
Yeah. Maybe one day Gotham Knights 2 will come out and it'll be a little bit better.
Probably not. Imagine tomorrow Gotham Knights 2 has appeared. Like, what?
We'll see if Suicide Squad actually lives up and...
Nah, bro, that is gonna suck ass.
Yeah.
Oh, Warner Brothers has Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they have Mortal Kombat too. Oof.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I guess, do you have any closing thoughts on Gotham Knights?
Best part about it for me, Barbara Gordon's ass, great.
All right.
That's my closing thought.
Nice. Good closing thoughts. On a scale of 1 to 10, what are you giving it?
Oh. I give it a 6. I'll give it a 6. It's
6,
not
7.
awful, but it's not like amazing. Like being decent would have been like I'd probably give it like 7.5. Like being really decent. Like I would have finished the tower if it was decent.
Yeah, I think it definitely had a lot more room to improve versus it was just a super bad game. So
Wait.
yeah,
I still have a gripe. Why the hell wouldn't you have them go out in nighttime, which is fine. Why wouldn't you try and tell a story with the characters out in the day? Like them living their lives. They're not holed up in their freaking belfry the whole time. Like what stopped you from letting them showing the two different sides of the character? Like you had your vigilante and then you had your normal life. So like flesh them out. I don't know.
nah, dude, only at night. The bats. Yeah, 6 to 6.5 is okay with me.
It was which Age Empires then?
What?
What do you rank Age Empires? 3?
Uh, 3 out of 3. Yeah,
Oh, you get out of here.
easy 8, even for the first one. Maybe we'll do a review on those one day. Probably
I'll
not.
run. Nah, you won't get me in there. Not a chance. You can do that one alone.
Yeah, but we'll end it there. It was a decent time, but I'm glad we're finished. Just so we can say we were finished with the game and move on. So yeah, thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of the Believe Me Don't podcast. Socials, you know what they are. Just go follow us on everything, and we'll end it there. And remember, you can continue
To believe us.
if you
Don't.
Oh, goodbye.